everyone. This is going to be the final tutorial for our final version of the social change poster. I'm not going to go over absolutely everything to do, but I am going to go over certain things that I think you guys might have questions about. And I am going to start just a general poster so you guys understand how it could look. I am going to start by putting my width and height. It is going to be 20 by 30 and it is your choice to make that portrait or landscape. I'm going to choose to make it portrait. So my width is going to be the smaller number, which is 20, and my height is going to be the larger number, which is 30. I noticed a few people make this mistake where they forgot to change the units from pixels to inches, so don't forget to do that. Just click on the little drop down menu and go from px to in, and then click create. So one of the requirements that you have for your final version of this poster is to have a background color made from a rectangle. Now your background color can be white, but I do still need to see that you've placed a rectangle here. You can do that just by clicking on this little drop down menu and then clicking on rectangle. Then we are going to just click and drag a rectangle shape around our whole page. By default, it does fill it with a medium gray, at least for me. I'm going to click that fill color and I'm going to choose something a little different. For me, I think I'll pick a light grayish blue. Again, you can choose white for this if you'd like to, but I do need to see that you have some kind of rectangle shape on your canvas. So now that I've placed my background, I don't want to mess with that anymore. So what I'm going to do is just lock it so I don't touch this. To do that, I'm going to make sure that my rectangle is selected. And then in the layer panel on the left, I'm just going to click on this little lock so that I can no longer move it or mess with it. Now I am ready to put reference images on here. I mentioned in the instructions that you can use reference images as long as they're not vectors already or pre-made in a digital program like Photoshop or Illustrator. So what that means is you can use pictures that you've taken or pictures from the internet, but they do have to be photos of people, of the earth, of different objects, whatever it may be. So they can't already be vectorized images. In my case, I picked an image of Earth. I'm going to do a makeshift Stop Climate Change poster. Obviously, you guys are going to make posters that look infinitely better than mine do. This is just a dummy sample that I'm going to show you guys. So it's not going to look great at all. I'm going to start by placing the image by going to the little two mountains and sun at the very top. Then I'm going to navigate to where I saved my image. Mine's going to be under downloads and I called it Earth. So I'm going to open that. It does already place a dead center. If I want to make it a little bigger, I can hold shift and then click and drag from this corner. I can hold option at the same time too to make it larger from the center out. Now I am going to start by tracing this Earth. I don't want to trace everything. If you guys want to, you can, if that is the style of your poster. I'm going to pretend that this is a minimalistic poster and I want to just vectorize it and get a continent and then get the shape of the Earth. But I am not going to go into detail. So I'm going to zoom in by clicking the little plus button on the top left. And I'm going to start by using my shape, my ellipse shape, so I don't have to trace the circle perfectly. I'm going to click this little drop down menu next to the rectangle and click ellipse. Then I'll do my best to find the center of this image, probably about here. And just like with Illustrator, I can hold option and shift to start from the center out and click and drag. I got really lucky this time. It's a little bit off, but I'm just going to move it afterwards. And now I have my perfect circle. I'll just move it a little bit. I'm going to use my arrow keys just to move it up and to the right. I am going to add a border and get rid of the fill because I want to be able to see through this circle. The first thing I'll do is add the border by just clicking the plus button next to the borders. And I'm going to make it red so I can see it really clearly. Then I'll make the stroke size larger by changing it from 1 to 5. This is just so I can see it clearly. Then finally, I'm going to get rid of the fill by clicking inside of this gray circle and then clicking the trash can to get rid of it. Now I am going to trace this continent with my pen tool. I'm not going to force you guys to watch this, so I'm just going to skip forward. So I have now finished tracing my lovely continent here. It does automatically fill it with white, and you can see that I didn't try hard at all to make this look perfectly like that continent. I just made it very angular. You could do something like that if that's the style that you're going for, but you just have to make sure that it fits the aesthetic of the poster style that you've chosen. So things like Russian propaganda posters, Art Nouveau, Art Deco, postmodern, etc., etc. So now that I've traced it, it automatically added a black border and this white fill. I'm going to get rid of the border, and I'm going to make the fill a green color. I can't see through it right now, so I'm going to just use my black arrow and drag it to the side, and then use this little eyedropper next to fill to choose the color that I want it to be, which will be this green. And then I'll just move it back. Just a reminder, you guys, if I am going too fast, remember that you can always pause and go back or even slow down the YouTube video so you can hear me more clearly. Now that I'm done with this continent, I'm ready to fill in the color of Earth and then move on. So I'm going to click on this red outline, and then I'm going to start by getting rid of my border. So I'm just going to click that fill for the border and then the trash can. Then I will add a fill. I can't see through it because it filled it in with black. So I'm just going to move this circle and find the color that I want to use, which is this royal blue, and use the eyedropper tool to sample that color. Then I will just move the circle back to where it was supposed to be. Now I do want these two shapes to move together. I don't want to have to select it every single time. So I'm going to click both by clicking the first one and then holding Shift and clicking the second one. And then I'm going to hit Control G to group it. And then on your layer panel on the left, you'll see that there is a group here. And it consists of a path and an ellipse, which is the circle, and your continent. An important thing to note is that when you add a reference image, when you're done using it, you make sure that you have it deleted so it doesn't come out in your final poster. So I'm going to click on this background image of Earth that I used, and I'm going to hit delete or backspace to get rid of it.